Guess who's back? Back again. I am back. Tell your friends. And I promise I will never do that again if you watch all my videos and like them. Or maybe I will. Anyways, I am super excited. I'm back here again. My name is Isha Jane, and today I'm going to be telling you how to break down the most asked about interview question, tell me about yourself. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get this question all the time. I definitely did not, but it's definitely a question you want to be prepared for because it's a great way to have an icebreaker and really show off your best self. So I'm just going to tell you how I styled my answer. There are so many different ways to style it. Please do your research and just see how everybody else is doing it. This is just my way. So a little bit of guidelines. I kept my answer to like around 1 to 1 minute and 30 seconds. And I totally recommend including some sort of punchline or something interesting in the beginning before you start. I think it's a great way not only to break the ice, but to get the attention of your interviewer and really get them wanting to listen. How many times are they asking this question in a full day? So you really want to stand out. My general outline consisted of introducing myself, where I was born, where I was raised, a kind of like two-liner about what attracted me to medicine, and then my endeavors in medical school, why I chose to go to medical school, and then why I kind of gravitated towards family medicine. I ended it off with telling them what I'm currently doing now and what I'm gonna do during the application season. And I think you can add, some people do, some people don't. I personally did. I added a few things of what I'm doing outside of medicine just to give it that whole complete look and, show them that I'm a real person. So that was just my kind of structural outline. There are so many different ways to do it, but I will give you an example of how I kind of started. So I started by introducing myself. My name is Isha Misha Jane. My parents rhyme my first and middle names together, so you can just imagine how that was growing up. And that got them, and that got them laughing, and I saw the hardest of people just cracking a little smile. But it was a great way for me to get the ball rolling and get people attracted to what I was about to say next. I then talked about where I was born, where I was raised, and how I got introduced into medicine. And I have said this in many of my ambassador or takeovers or Project IMD takeovers, but I would say, I had an early introduction into medicine through my father, who was also a physician, and his contributions to the society really motivated me to pursue something just as meaningful. And so I decided to pursue my medical career at the American University of Antigua. And then I went in to talk about what kind of qualities, leadership qualities, or whatever I did in Antigua that really could translate into something in the medical field. So I decided to talk about my leadership opportunities. I was an ambassador. I actually was able to become a medical scholar. So I would talk about how I achieved a certain grade, which was above 85. And by doing so, I became a medical scholar. I tutored biochem, cell bio, and neurology. And this really blossomed my passion for clinical education. And right then and there, that gets them because clinical education is such a huge and important part about any residency, especially academic residencies where you'll be interacting with students. And so I think the biggest importance is that whatever kind of qualities or tasks or experiences that you've had, if you can translate them into something that will apply to your residency, it will go a long way. I then transitioned into talking about when I graduated. So I told them I graduated in April 2021 and I was applying for the 2022 match cycle. So I also wanted to give them some things that I was doing in between and things that I was doing leading up to starting residency to let them know that I'm invested in the medical community, not just mine, but all around in the United States and in Canada. So I said, after graduating in April 2021, I decided to take on a number of projects. I knew I wanted to write my step 3, so I did that and I passed and I had it before the deadline. Not only that, I really wanted to get more clinical experience. So I decided to do an externship in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I really had a hands-on experience of what it required to be in that resident role. Not only that, I ended up joining a research team. I went on to produce 2 papers as the first author, and then 5 more, which not only did I love interacting with like-minded individuals, but I was able to not only learn how to write so many different case reports, literature reviews, systematic analyses or meta-analyses, but I also went on to co-lead a group of over 300 people. I then talked about where I took that. So I was holding sessions on how to write a paper, how to reference a paper. And so these are all things, again, that can translate into your residency. And that's really important. Another thing that I talked about was what I was doing thereafter, which was scribing for a doctor. And I think that that's really important because even though it wasn't on my ERS app, it showed that I still had continued investment in the medical field. And after that, I personally like to talk about what I do outside of medicine, whether it's just like a cool little thing me and my mom did. At one point, I think I said, my mom really wants to climb Mount Everest, but I'm just about climbing the hill in my backyard. And so it was kind of funny, cheesy, but I thought it was memorable. And I think, that was just my general outline. What I do recommend is that you guys start preparing now. You keep it short and sweet and really touch upon your features, your highlights. So start writing down, what are you doing in medical school, or what drew you to your specific specialty? So for me, I, included that during my clinical sciences years, I didn't love just one specialty. I loved them all. I loved the unique variety from adult to pediatric, from OB-GYN to, hospital inpatient medicine. And that was something that I could get with family medicine. And so I really made it a full, well-rounded kind of short introduction. And I think it got them a kind of window into who Isha Misha is. So yeah, feel free to inbox me. You have any questions, I hopefully will do another video about other common questions. But yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll never sing for you guys again, I promise.